Did it tumble? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, YouTubers. Oh my goodness. Y'all come on in. Come on in, beautiful people. Come on in, YouTube. I got a good word for you this morning. Let me get on all my other platforms while y'all are coming in. My goodness, good morning, YouTube. What's up, fam? I sure do love you guys. Y'all come on in the room. Come on in the room. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. So y'all, I woke up this morning and literally it is pouring. It is pouring outside. Like it's like, y'all, it's like a tsunami outside. I'm not even kidding. It is like a whole tsunami. Y'all come on in. So I don't know how my Wi-Fi is gonna be today. We'll see how it goes. But look, I got my jammies still on. I put on a hat for y'all. I put on a hat so y'all don't have to see my bed head. Good morning, beautiful people. Good morning. Good morning, YouTubers. Denise and Amanda. It's just like that for 2 days here in Dallas. And Angela, it's so crazy right now. The weather's crazy. We can't get gas. Hey, Krista. You know what? I'm going to tell y'all something. Right now, you have to lean on Jesus. You can't be in fear. You can't be worried. There's just so much. Hey, Gretchen. Hi, Wendy and Heather and China. Krista. What's up? And sweet Amy and Tamra. What's up? Yep. Good morning. I love you more, Tabitha. Tabitha, did you know my mama almost named me Tabitha? Could y'all imagine my name, Tabitha? Good morning, Katrine. Good morning, Bridgeport, Connecticut. Good morning, Katie, Grace, and Lanisha. My YouTube is going. I'm so excited all of y'all are in here with me today. I've got Facebook going, and now I'm gonna get on Instagram. So Periscope stopped. Periscope just went kaput. It went away. And so now all I gotta do is get on, I gotta get on Instagram. Hi, Tiffany and Jen and Charlene. So guys, it is pouring rain here. And I have to admit, I woke up this morning and I was like, no, we're not gonna do prayer this morning. Y'all ever do that? Hey, Cherry. Hey, Anastasia, Victoria, Pam. Do y'all ever do that? Hey, Martina. Where you wake up in the morning and you're like, no, we're not going to do life today. No. Oh, no, I don't think I'm going to be an adult today. I don't know. I think I'm just going to stay in the bed. Yeah, me and Kingston. But Kingston's already laying back on his spot back here. We're like, no, I think I'm just gonna stay in the bed today. I don't think I'm gonna adult today. I don't think I'm gonna get up and do my makeup today. I got up in my jammies. Like I didn't even put clothes on for you guys. I went and I put my hat on so that you guys don't have to see my bed head. But I got a great word for you. So I'm laying in the bed and I'm like, no, don't think I'm gonna do life today. Think I'm just gonna lay in my bed today and I'm just going to Netflix and chill. And all of a sudden, I heard the Lord say, get your butt up. You can't Netflix and chill. You got to get up. You got to go do life. You got a word to give the people this morning. You got a word to give the people. Y'all, I even took Kingston outside. So I take Kingston outside to go use the restroom. And it is pouring. I'm talking like tsunami pouring. Tsunami pouring. Like it is bad. Like there is so much water everywhere. And I'm thinking, he ain't gonna go outside. This dog ain't gonna go out in this rain. He's not gonna go outside in this rain. It is tsunami pouring outside. And all of a sudden, that dog walks out, goes strolling into the front yard. Yes, right, Christy? Me too. Allie is. I love the rain. Me too, if I can stay in bed. And he walks out in the rain, goes, does his business. And I think, man, if Kingston can get up and Kingston can walk out in the rain and do what he needs to do, then you better bet your behind I can get up. Candace, I'm so thankful you love my prophetic declarations. I'm so thankful. So y'all, I've got a podcast out there that is, just go to where you watch podcast. Let's get on Instagram so I could tell them too. We have 3 children in the house at the same time. My goodness. Hi, Instagram. Hi, family. So for all of you that are just tuning in, I have a podcast that is going to bless your life. And you need to go to anywhere you listen to podcasts. Just go Google, right? Podcast. Just Google Real Talk Kim podcast, and you will see my podcast. And I have declarations where I wake you up every day. Declarations to help you get up in the morning, because the Bible says that life and death are in the power of your words. And I get you up every morning and I preach to you, and you listen to your favorite preachers. You listen to your favorite motivational speakers. I do all of that for you. However, when I get off of here, or your pastor gets off of his live, or you are done with that podcast, you have to know how to implement this into your life, right? And so, yes, Kayla, I still do prayer every Tuesday morning, every Wednesday, and every Thursday. Some Thursdays I don't get on, but sometimes I get on even Thursdays at 8 a.m. But you have to know how to implement, right? You have to implement what I'm teaching you and what your leaders are teaching you, what your mentors are teaching you. And so the podcast, my podcast, will give you and equip you to walk into every season of your life. Every season of your life. Walking through that divorce, you got to know what to say. Walking through changing a job. Lauren is hoping to leave her job today and move forward. You got to know how. You have to know how to implement the words that's coming out of your mouth, right? And so I have declarations on my podcast last week, and then I put up a great podcast this week. And so what time is it out there? So out here, Silk Chanel, it is 8:09 a.m. I just got done listening to your podcast. I made notes on it and posted it on my Facebook. Yes, I'm so thankful. And so on days like this, right, maybe seasons, and this is what we're going to talk about really quickly today. I'm laying in my bed and I'm thinking about, I do not want to wake up this morning. It's not even that I didn't want to wake up. It's that it is raining cats and dogs outside. Well, it's not really cats and dogs, but that's what my dad used to say. It was raining so hard that you just don't want to get up out of bed. So what happens, and this is what we're going to talk about today, what happens when something happens to you in your life that takes the wind out of you? Has anybody ever been there? Where literally, yes, Christina, I have an incredible lesson for ladies ministry. It's called the Shut Hell Up e-course. I have an e-course. And Michelle, this would be so wonderful for your ladies in your ministry, in your church. It is Shut Hell Up. I literally walk you ladies, or you guys, whoever does my e-course, I walk you through 7 sessions where I sit for 30 minutes and I walk you through 7 separate sessions on how to tell hell to shut up in your life, right? God is awesome and he gives us the tools, but we have to implement it. And so just go Google Real Talk Kim e-course and you will find it. You get workbooks, you get the book, Shut Hell Up book, when you sign up for the e-course. I think it's $99 for a group, and it's $49 for the session. And you can literally listen to it with your friends, and you do it at your own pace. So you don't have to do it all at once. You can do it a year. You can spread it out. It's really awesome. And then I have a mentorship program, Inner Circle, the RTK Inner Circle. And it's awesome. It's awesome. Hey, Cleon said, I wish I could afford that e-course. You know what, Cleon, let me just tell you something. We are able to do what we want to do. You ever seen those people that say, man, I wish I could do this, I wish I could do that, but yet they're walking into the dollar store, they're spending $30 every day at McDonald's, right? We make provision for what we want to make provision for. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to change, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm glad you said that, sis. It walks me right into my lesson today. When you get sick and tired of being sick and tired of where you're at, then things change. Until you get to a place where you are not a victim in your own story, when you get to a place where you're not begging for, I need somebody to pick me up and put me in the water like the man at the pool of Bethesda. You know what I'm saying? It may take you a year. Like, even in my mentorship program, y'all, I've got an RTK Inner Circle. It's $20 a month to be in my inner circle. I am in there every night almost, pouring into my people, right? There ain't nobody else that does that, but I actually love my inner circle. And listen, $20 a month, and there are people that literally say, I can't afford that. That is 60 cents a day. So the reason I even put $20 a month is because if you don't invest in yourself, if you don't invest in yourself, you will never change. I have a gym membership that they give me here. It's a gym membership, and they give it to me for free because I'm a pastor. And do you know I've never walked in that gym? Never. Why? Because it didn't cost me something. I'm proudly admitting that. I need to get my butt in that gym. But y'all, you have to invest. Come on, somebody. You have to invest. If you want your life to change, you will never change it by stalking the same people, hanging out with the same people. I'm telling you, I built this inner circle. I built my RTK Inner Circle so that we would have a tribe of like people, right? If you want your life to change, you are not at the Pink Pony every Friday night wasting $150 getting drunk on tequila, dancing on a pole. If you want your life to really change for the better, you begin to take your spare time and you begin to get around somebody that literally pushes you to break through. You want to get out from under that divorce that won't let you get out. Every day, all you thinking about is that man that walked out on you, and every day you're stalking him. Every day you're talking to your friend. She's riding by his house to see if his new girlfriend's there. No, you need to get away from that friend. You need to get away from people that are enabling you in your dysfunction. You appreciate the water once you carry the buckets to fill them. Come on. That's right. Until you get to a place where you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, nothing's going to change. So here's my lesson. I'm so thankful. I love when God just does that. When God allows someone to ask me a question that leads us right into our sermon, I know that God gave me the sermon for you today. Let's look at this. 1 Peter 4:10. 1 Peter 4:10. It says, God has given each of you a gift. We're going to talk about destiny today. We're going to talk about getting up and moving out of our pitifulness today, right? David said, I won't give God something that don't cost me. Come on, Joyce. Y'all better preach up in here. Y'all preaching. I know my inner circle's preaching up in here. My trailblazers are preaching up in here. My limitless church is preaching up in here. I'm telling y'all, I pastor Limitless Church right here in Fayetteville, Georgia. I equip them. I push them. Anybody that's in my group, I'm pushing you out into my worship leader. My worship leader was a backup singer. She had never led praise and worship, but she had a phenomenal voice. She was afraid. She was scared. She was young. And my worship leader had moved to somewhere else, and I needed a worship leader. I pushed this girl into worship leading, and now she's one of the best worship leaders on the planet, Pastor Leandria. And y'all, I push. You got to get around people that push you, that see your worth, that see how awesome you are, and pushes you. right? But you can't get around people. You can't get around people and then tell them, begin to let your old ways, your old habits, your old controlness, right? You can't allow yourself to begin to bring those old behaviors into. If you get the right person, they'll mold you, right? They'll help you go into your destiny. So you have to, all of us, right here it says in 1 Peter 4:10, it says all of us, that's you, mama, that's you, single daddy, that's you, single mama, that's you, abused wife, that's you, sex trafficked, horrific testimony that you're afraid to tell, that's you, woman at the well. Come on, God has given each of us, he's given each of you a gift from his great variety of spiritual gifts. And it says, use them well to serve others. Use them well. And then look at Romans 14:12. This is going to step on some of you. I'm going to sit on all your laps today. Romans 14:12. This is why the enemy's got you stuck on silly. He's got you stuck on that person that served you divorce papers. He's got you stuck on that job that let go of you after you've given all your time. I'm telling you, listen, Romans 14:12 says, yes, each of us will give a personal account to God. Each of us will give a personal account to God for the things that he's put inside of us. That's right, I'm a midwife. You better believe it. I'm a midwife. I want all of y'all. I want every single one of y'all watching this today to do more than me. I want to see fruit from these morning prayer calls with you. I want to see y'all getting the nerve to jump into your purpose. I want to see y'all getting the tenacity and the faith to move mountains. I want to see y'all getting up. Let me just tell you something. Yes, Daisy said it. Get around people that make your baby jump. I want, by the time you get off these prayer calls or by the time you leave my services on Sunday at Limitless Church, I want you to feel like I can't go to sleep now. I can't go back to pitiful. I'm powerful. I got something to do. The enemy's been after me because I got something to do. I want y'all to have Holy Ghost hibby-jibbies. Yes. Right? Jenny said, I need prayer. Jenny, I want you to know you got the power on the inside of you to pray over yourself. That's what I want. I want y'all to not feel like you're disqualified. You can't lay hands on yourself. You can't walk around your house and anoint your house. Yes, you can. You've got the same power. You cannot allow the enemy to have whooped your tail so bad that now you feel like I can't pray over myself. You can pray over yourself. Listen, but I'm praying for you, sis. One will put 1,000 flight, two will put 10. We're praying for you. In fact, my prayer team is on here with me today. I see my prayer team. My prayer team is probably coming up under that comment saying, we're praying for you right now. I got a prayer team that is activated to move mountains. We don't stop till we see a move in your life. Listen, here's my question to you today. Do you know? Yes, the Elijah mantle. Come on, man. Do you know what God has created for you? Do you know? That's my first question today. Do you know what God created you for? Do you know? Do you know what your destiny is? Do you know? Those are my questions this morning. We're going to talk about it. The first thing, you better come hug me on Sunday. 10 and 11:30 right there at Limitless Church, 1653 Highway 85 South, Fayetteville, Georgia, 30215. And you got to pray, honey. Pray without ceasing. Yes. Now, I hear some people say, I pray once and leave it in God's hands. Not me. I'm like, hey, I prophesy today that the mountains are moving in my life. I prophesy today, you taking care of my son. You know what you need to take care of, God, and I'll do it every day. I'm reminding myself, you know what I'm saying? I'm reminding myself that God is faithful. I'm not reminding God you forgot to answer my prayer. I'm reminding myself you better keep on standing. You hear me? The first thing you must do to understand your destiny is to recognize the gifts God has given you to use, right? That's the first thing, to recognize your gifts God has given you to use. Here's what it is. They include the things you can't control. They include the things that you can't control. Your parents, your nationality, your race, your language. They also include your shape, your spiritual gifts, your heart, your abilities, your personality, your experiences. You hear me? These are the things that make you uniquely you. You hear me? Do you know what God created for you to do? Do you know what your destiny is? The first thing you must do is to understand your destiny, is to recognize the gifts that God has given to you to use, right? They include, they include, they include the things you can't control. That's right. They include your parents, they include your nationality, your race, your language. You can't change none of that, but God's included it, right? They also include your shape, your spiritual gifts, your heart. Come on, your abilities, your personality, your experiences. These are all the things that make you uniquely you. Now, listen, you are not responsible for the gifts God didn't give you. Y'all weren't ready for that. In other words, if you are not artistically gifted, you are not expected to paint pictures like Picasso. All right, that's why some of you are having such a hard time in this life. You are trying to do and be in someone else's lane, right? I believe I can do in every lane, but the last thing I can't paint, right? I'm never gonna be a chef. I'm never gonna be, these are things that I'm not good at, right? But I know what I'm good at. You're not gonna be responsible to paint pictures like Picasso, but you are responsible for the ones he did give you, right? And the things that God did give you, let me tell you, I'm gonna help you find your gift this morning in the next 5 minutes. When you get to heaven, God isn't going to compare you with anyone else. Boom, shakalaka, like a boom. God is not gonna compare you to anybody else, but he will compare you with yourself. He's gonna compare you with yourself. What did you do with what you were given? That's the reason some of y'all are miserable, because you're not even walking in your purpose. You've done laid down, you've quit on yourself. When that marriage didn't work, when you got furloughed during the pandemic, when you faced cancer, radiation, chemotherapy for the 15,000th time, and now you're just done. You're like the woman with the issue of blood. You're like, oh, I've done spent all my money trying to get a cure. But if you get your focus off of what ain't working in your life and begin to use what God has given you, all of a sudden you are out of the hell that you feel stuck in. What could you have done? That's my question. What could you have done if you had trusted God a little bit more? To this point in your life. See, Romans 14:12 says, each of us will have to give a personal account to God, right? All those things that you're worried about today, you're not gonna even be standing before God, right? On those things. You're worried about him, you're worried about her, you're jealous of them, you're jealous of, when you get to heaven, God ain't gonna ask you about nobody else. God ain't gonna ask you about nobody else. He's not gonna ask you about your ex. He's not gonna ask you about nothing. You are not gonna get anybody else into heaven or hell. Only thing he's gonna ask you is he gonna say, well done, my good and faithful servant? Yes. You are allowing a season in your life to define your lifetime. You are quitting on yourself. God has given you gifts for a purpose. He's given you gifts for a purpose, and you have a responsibility to be a good steward of those gifts. Not for selfish uses, not to become famous, not to become, loved, not to become, when I walk into a place, everybody wants my pictures. No. God has called you to be a game changer, a nation shifter for your family. God didn't give you a purpose so you can become a billionaire and be sitting up in a mansion up on a sky driving a Bentley with stars in the roof and not doing anything else with that thing. And you have a responsibility to be a good steward of the gifts that God has given you, not for selfish uses, but for the good of others. When I was laying in my bed this morning and the rain is beating down on my house and Kingston is snuggled up to me, the last thing I wanted to do was get up and do this because it is a perfect day to Netflix and chill. And today I was like, no, my purpose is bigger than laying in this bed, letting the rain make me lazy. That purpose drives you. Even if things aren't happening the way you want them to happen in your life, it still drives you. Your gifts are not for your benefit. Your gifts are not for your benefit. God gave you gifts for the benefit of other people. And you got to ask yourself, what has God given me for good to use for good? What do I have? What do I have in me? And y'all are like, I don't even know what I have in me. Yeah, because you've lost it. You've quit on yourself. You quit on yourself. You believe what they said about you instead of what he knows about you. So here's what I'm saying to you today. Stop putting limitations on yourself. God will not only use your gifts to fulfill your destiny. He'll also use your limitations. Let's talk about Esther really quickly. Queen Esther. She had several big limitations that made her perfect for the role God wanted her to fulfill. She was an orphan. She was an orphan, adopted by Mordecai. She was an orphan, adopted by Mordecai. She was a minority, a Jew living in a Persian country. And she was a single woman. But God used all of these things, along with the gifts of her beauty, her brains, and the personality to fulfill her destiny, right? Sometimes what looks like a disaster in your life is part of a much bigger plan. I'm just reminded of my children's pastor, right? My children's pastor, Pastor Carla. Pastor Carla she carries more ideas and anointings, and she's always into school. She's always, y'all know Pastor Carla. She's the one that comes up and introduces me before I preach on Sunday. That girl is like, she is the most brilliant, most creative person ever, right? She's always bettering herself. She's always in school. When I met Pastor Carla had been released from her job only because it was the pandemic. Everybody got released. I don't care how good you were, right? So many people had to downsize in their jobs. But Pastor Carla, God knew that Pastor Carla was eccentric like me. He knew that Pastor Carla had gifts. He knew that Pastor Carla filled the role of exactly what Limitless Church needed. So what looked like a devastation to Pastor Carla, to PK, was actually for such a time as this at Limitless, right? She could have gotten in her feelings and felt like she just got thrown away, right? She had been at this place for a very long time. But what looked like a devastation, God ended up using it for the betterment of where she wanted to go. Let's talk about your divorce. Let's talk about divorce. I talk about divorce a lot because so many people feel like they are on the clearance rack after divorce. You quit on yourself after you got the divorce because you think, what do I have to say? I couldn't even make a family work, right? You have to realize that when something ends, it doesn't mean that it is the ending of you. It means, listen, it means that you are created for a lane that your gifts are going to make room for you in, right? So God's going to use the divorce. God's going to use the furlough. God's going to use the bankruptcy. God's going to use the cancer diagnosis. God's going to use that thing that made you quit on yourself. He's setting you up. The ending that you thought was devastating was only the beginning of something greater. It was a new beginning. Okay? You will never fulfill your destiny if you are having a pity party. You're never ever gonna see the bigger plan of your disaster. You are never, ever gonna walk in the fulfillment of God's purpose on your life if you allow yourself to hang out at the pool of Bethesda. The dude at the pool of Bethesda, it doesn't say his legs didn't work. It says that his mind, it leads me to believe his mind was so left in a season of his life. He was allowing a season in his life to define his lifetime. And that man at the pool of Bethesda was having himself a whole pity party, wanting somebody else to help him because he felt like he had screwed his life up. I'm gonna tell you something today. God can never take you to another place in your life as long as you are comparing your story, as long as you are comparing your life, as long as you are letting somebody that threw you away, somebody that decided they didn't love you no more, somebody that wasn't there for you, right? As long as your daddy didn't want you, so now you think the Heavenly Father doesn't want you, right? You gotta stop being in a pity party and get your butt up today and get your butt on fire. Get around some people that speak to the purpose on the inside of you. Stop being a weight on people. Stop being pitiful. Stop wanting everybody else to save you and learn how to encourage yourself in the Lord. Come on, somebody. That's a B3 moment right there. Get up. That's the word. See, Esther could have just said, if only I had been chosen. If only I had been chosen. If only I wasn't Jewish. If only I would have been born into a wealthy family. Oh, if only I was like someone else. A lot of people do that. If only my dreams would have worked. If only I wouldn't have been a divorcee. If only I wouldn't have been addicted to drugs and alcohol and lost my family. If only I hadn't been adopted. If only my mom and dad would have raised me in church. A lot of people do this. They live their lives in resentment, always looking at people and saying, well, it must be nice. It must be nice. Their daddy was rich. Her daddy was a preacher. It must be nice. She snatched. She had little Jerry 2 weeks ago, and she is on Destin Beach in a bikini. And I can't even get my back boobs off from little Joshua. It's 12. It must be nice. She had everything handed to her. If you have that attitude, you will never fulfill your destiny. You have to realize that the unpleasant obstacles in your life are often God-ordained opportunities to make a difference. Your big nose, your 5-finger forehead, your big butt, your no butt, your quirky personality, your eccentric personality. That's all gonna work for the benefit of what God is gonna do in your life. You might be in a situation right now where everything is going wrong and you can't figure it out. You don't have any answers, but God knows. Nothing in your life is accidental. Nothing is accidental. The pleasures, the pains, the opportunities, the obstacles, God can use for good. And he will. He don't waste your hell. He doesn't waste your hell. There's nothing God cannot use for the good in your life if you'll hand it over to him and then trust him. So here, do something about it today. Do something about it today. Come on. One key to discovering your destiny is to identify the needs that stir your heart. Y'all gotta listen to this part, and I'm gonna talk soft so y'all can hear me. The needs, you gotta identify the needs that stir your heart. What is it that upsets you? What causes, y'all better listen to this part because this is about to resurrect some of y'all. What is it that upsets you in your life? What is it that upsets you, that causes you to think, somebody ought to do something about that? What is it? Somebody ought to do something about that. Whatever it is, that is the key to your destiny. You're welcome. That's the key to your destiny. Right there. For example, if Esther's servant tells her that her uncle Mordecai, this is what happened, is publicly mourning because Haman's plot and the king's decree was to kill all the Jews. And Mordecai is over here publicly mourning. He is so deeply disturbed by what is happening. Guess what? Esther is disturbed by it. When she hears that Mordecai is doing it, deep down, it breaks her heart. And she probably thinks that a lot of people will die unless yes, righteous anger, unless she does something about it. You know why I get up every morning at 8 a.m. when I want to lay in the bed because it's storming outside? You know what makes me get up and still preach the next day after my daddy dies? You want me to tell you? Let me tell you why? Why? Because there is a need in this world for people to find themselves, to pick themselves up and move forward into their destiny. That's my purpose, is to love people back to life. That makes me get up at 8 a.m., right? There was a need that I saw and I stepped into the role. And God said, I trust you. Do you hear me? She knew. Esther knew there's a need. Does anything in your life disturb you? Does anything disturb you, or is your life so insulated that nothing makes you say, somebody ought to do something about it? You hear me? Listen to me. Here's your homework. Here's your homework. Make a list. Ms. Move said, I have a heart for women. Then you better get moving. You better use what God has given you right now, which is your platforms, and begin to win people. Stop thinking, y'all, that you got to have this huge platform. You know, all the ducks have to be in a row. I've got to go out and buy me a $100,000 TV set. No, you don't. I bought my backdrop upstairs for $20 on Amazon. I use my phone to do my podcast that's nationally syndicated. You ain't got to wait till everything in your life is perfect to change the world. If you have a heart for homeless, go sit with them down on the curb downtown and just love on them. Just listen. Don't even tell them nothing. Just listen. Let them talk to you and tell you what happened, and then help them get a plan. You ain't got to be able to feed the hungry to go help the homeless. Go listen. You hear me? Here's your homework. Make a list of the needs you see that disturb you. Come on, YouTube. Come on, Facebook. Come on, Inner Circle. Come on, Limitless Church. Come on, Instagram. Come on, Trailblazers. What disturbs you? Then here's your next homework. Pray and ask God to show you ways you can use your gifts to make a difference. See, God doesn't recruit you without a calling. God calls everybody to use the gifts and the passions that they have. But not everyone picks up the phone. Not everyone picks up the phone. The only way you are going to hear is if you listen. Stop looking at the detriment of that situation and thinking your life is over. Your life ain't over. As long as you have a pulse, God has a plan. You hear me? You're the one that quit on yourself. You're the one that thinks you're the man at the pool of Bethesda that thinks somebody's got to come and pick you up. No, you got two legs. Even if you ain't got two legs, you got two wheels. You ain't dead. Get up. Stop wallowing, thinking a man took your destiny when he walked out. You don't need a man's money. You're like, oh, but I don't have any money. He took care of us. Go make your own money. You have gifts. He fell in love with something on inside of you. He fell in love with a greatness on the inside of you that now you ain't got no more because you quit on yourself. Make a list of things that disturb you and then listen. Pray. The only way you're going to hear is if you listen. You've got to be quiet. You've got to get alone and you've got to spend time with God. When Mordecai sends Esther a word that the Jews are going to be annihilated, he essentially says, don't think that you can just ignore this disturbing trend. Yeah, I know it's been tough, but this is your destiny. That's what Mordecai tells Esther. God put you here, Esther. It's no accident that you are a Jewish girl and now the queen of Persia. She gets the throne. And he says, girlfriend, this is why y'all need a good mentor. Like me or a pastor. It's going to push your butt. No, you didn't get all this. God didn't give you this platform just for you to be famous. No. You got to do something. You got to look at where you at and why am I where I'm at. Come on. It's important to read on and see Esther's response. Y'all got to go read Esther. This was my Bible study this morning. It's important to read on and see that Esther's response to Mordecai in Esther 4:15. It says, go gather together all the Jews and fast for me. That's what she said. All right, you're going to tell me to go? Then I need you to begin to fast and I need you to begin to pray. You know what I'm saying? You need to fast, you need to pray, and me and my maids will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. Your purpose will have you breaking the rules. Esther knows confronting the king is likely to mean certain death. She's going to have to use her gifts of beauty, brains, and personality to persuade him. But before she goes to see him, she sets aside 3 days to fast and pray before God. When you are seeking God's call on your life, follow the example. First, get all the support you can. That's why you need. I love you, Whittier. That's why you got to get in my inner circle. I got a whole tribe. You got to get some support. You can't do it by yourself. You ain't a one-man show. You can't be jealous of other people. You can't be jealous of other people getting what you got. You got to realize there's 7.5 billion people. You can share. You can support. You got to get some support. Second, if you ain't got no support, you need to go fast and pray for yourself because God built you for relationships. Why ain't you got no support? Listen, first of all, get all the support you can. Second, I do this every morning. God, get my heart right. God, if there's anything in me that is stopping me from moving into the dimension that you want me to move in, I know the enemy cannot take me out, but I know he's trying to wear me out, and I don't want him to wear me out on my own stubbornness. I don't want him to wear me out on my own ugliness. I don't want him to wear me out on my polluted heart, so get me right. Listen, first of all, the support you can, get it all. Second, you need extended time alone with God. That means not Netflix and chilling, but praying. I want to encourage you to schedule time with God. Whether it's an overnight, a weekend, or longer if you can. You won't hear God's call on your life if you don't get alone with him. Pastor Carla, PK, that I was talking about earlier, she said the other day, she said, one of my biggest problems was I couldn't get alone with God. I need to be reading a book. I need to be listening. I need to be, you hear me? I need to be listening to a video by Chan, or I feel like I always need to be growing. So I never got quiet. And she said that was what I had to do. I had to get quiet. In order to fulfill your destiny, you must make a faith commitment. It's not enough to just talk about your calling and set some goals. You need to decide to go for it. Esther was willing to die. You got to make a command and a commitment in your heart. I'm going for it. I'm going for it. I'm so thankful, Margie. I'm going for it today. I'm picking up the pieces today. I'm picking back up my heart today. Some of y'all need to tell your heart it's time to beat again. Some of y'all, the wind got knocked out of you. You hear me? Esther knew going to the king was risky and it could lead to her death. She was afraid to go, but she knew it was the right thing to do. And she said, if I perish, I perish. That's a faith commitment right there. If I fall, this is what some of y'all need to decide today. If I fall, if I fail, if this book I want to write doesn't succeed, I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it. Until you know what you are willing to die for, you are not ready to live. Come on, somebody. You are just existing. But when you understand your destiny and you know what God has called you to do, you are willing. You are willing to go for it. You are willing to look stupid. You are willing to let them talk about you. You are willing to be the brunt of the conversations at Starbucks. You are willing to abandon everything. Knowing what God has called you to do and making the faith commitment to do it means setting goals. And the best way I can put it is this: you can only manage what you measure. You got to go for it. You got to go for it. This is an important principle in life. If you don't have specific goals that you can measure, if you don't have specific goals that can be measured, your goal will just be a pipe dream. You won't be any better. You won't be any different than you are today. Matthew 9:29, and I'm done. And above all else, come on, somebody. Now's when I need Raphael behind me playing. Above all else, make sure that you set your goals with faith. Why? Because Jesus said, because of your faith, because of your faith, it will happen. It will happen. Matthew 9:29. Somebody needs to put that on your fridge today. Habakkuk, come on, Tori. Habakkuk says, write the vision and make it plain. Come on, somebody. That's what it says. It says in Matthew 9:29, above all else, make your goals. Set your goals in faith, because Jesus said, because of your faith, it will happen. So, Father, I just thank you right now that all throughout these airways, I thank you that I got up this morning. Woo! I thank you for this word that you downloaded in my heart, for all my socials, for my limitless church that I get to pastor, the greatest church in the world. Woo! For my incredible RTK Inner Circle, for my trailblazers. You gave me this word this morning, God, to activate, to get somebody to get back up again, to get somebody to dream again, to get somebody to unquit on themselves today. Lord, I just thank you that you're stirring up something in all of us today. Woo! You're stirring it up, God. You're stirring back up that dream. You're stirring back up that purpose. You're stirring back up our destiny today, God. Let us be fearless for you. Let us be bold for you, and let us realize that we don't need nobody's accolade. We don't need somebody to put a stamp of approval on us. All we need is belief in the gift that you've given us and us walking in it. Today, God, we're jumping. We're jumping. You are either going to teach us how to fly or you going to catch us when we fall. But we ain't staying here. I ain't staying in this hell. I ain't staying in this depression. I ain't staying in this pity party. I'm getting up. In Jesus' name, cover us, cover our family, and open doors that no man can shut. Oh, open those doors. See, y'all thought because the curtain had closed, the production was over. But God said I had to close the curtain in order to set up for the next scene. Now, go forth and be awesome. Change the world, you world changers, you nation shifters. Go change the world. Nobody is you, and nobody can do what God has called you to do. Go fly. I love you guys so much. Thank you for hanging with me today. Now, go be your bad self. Go be who God created you to be. Go change your community. Change your world. Stop waiting to have everything in place. Jump today. Get your butt up and move. I love y'all. Love you guys. Love you, my YouTubers. Love y'all so much.
Good morning.